Hello and welcome to part 2 of the Mazin tutorial video. Mazin is a unique maze-based puzzle game for the iPhone OS. I'm the developer of Mazin, and in this second video I'm going to show you how to create your own mazes in Mazin. Now, the first video covered how to play Mazin. In the second video we're going to be going to create your own mazes, which is this selection right here. You're given the option to pick a maze you've already started building or to create a new maze. I'm going to go ahead and create a new maze, and it'll bring up the option to name your maze. Let's just call it test. It'll create a maze, save it here, and now we pick that maze to start building. In build mode, you have an open playboard here. To the left, you have a palette showing you all the different type of cells you can use. And on the bottom, again, you have the option to go back to the maze list, to test your maze, I'll show you that in a little bit, to save the changes you've made, or to go to see some basic instructions. I'll go ahead and show you that now. A list of instructions for building mazes is provided. You can scroll through and see all the options, which again, we're going to cover in this tutorial. The first thing you're going to need to decide is where you want to place both the play block and the home location when the maze begins or is reset. You can just drag either one of these to anywhere you want in the maze and drop it to start off with. If you don't like the orientation, you can just tap either one of the blocks and it will change the orientation of either the play block or the home location. I'm just going to start them off in the corners just like that. So to build your maze, you need to select cells and place them onto the play block. You simply tap a cell, for example the wall cell, and begin tapping to create cells of that type. Now if you tap again on the same type of cell, it'll turn it back into an open cell. So let me just build some walls here, come around, maybe make a little chamber that you can only enter with one orientation. Okay, that looks good. Pick a rotate cell and place them in the same way you did your wall cells. Just for fun, let's make a collapse cell. That's the cell here, and put it in, and let's make an expand cell, and we can drop those in. So if you've seen the tutorial for playing Mazin, you've seen all these different cell types before. And like I was showing, most of them are fairly easy to place on your own board. The one that's the most complicated is the switch cell. When you choose to add a switch cell, two things are going to happen. First, Mazin's going to ask you which cell is the target of that switch. Which cell is going to actually change as a result of activating that switch. So let's pick, I don't know, this cell here. Once you've selected a cell, it says which of these types, cell types, should that cell become. So let's make it into a rotate. So now if I activate that switch, it's going to turn the cell I've chosen into a rotate cell. Now if you saw the play tutorial, you know that some of these special cells can have a limited number of activations. You may want that feature in your own mazes, so just tap one of the special cells and hold it for about a second, and the cell settings dialog will come up. With this dialog, you can change the cell type if you like, or you can turn on the limited activations. Simply turn it on, and then choose how many activations you'd like it to have. Let's just make one activation for this cell. When you save those settings, you'll see the cell has the limited activations badge and shows you that it's only going to activate one time. Now, as with placing the switch cell also has a slightly different set of settings. If you hold it for 1 second, you'll see it shows you the target cell and the target cell type of the switch. When you lift, it'll bring up the cell settings dialog, only here not only can you set up the settings for the switch itself, you can also see the target, change the target, or change the target type, or set limited activations for the target. Let me show you changing the target. It does exactly what it did when you first put the target cell out there. It lets you pick a different cell and change the type in a different way. Once it's done that, it brings you back to the cell settings. And again, you can see your target cell and make any changes you like. Let's say, for example, we want our target cell to have a limited number of activations of just one. Oops, there. So I'm going to save that. Now at some point, you're probably going to want to test out your maze as you're building it, just to see how it's coming along. To do that, you tap the test button, and Mazin loads up the maze you've been building in the standard play area. Now you can play the maze just like you would any other. Move your play block around, activate your rotate cells. Let's test out this switch cell down here that we've set up. I'll move into it, and it changed this cell into a rotate cell with a limited number of activations, just like we wanted. One of the reasons you're going to want to test your maze is in order to prove that it can be solved. If you don't prove it can be solved, Mazin will not let you choose it from the playlist when you go back to the playlist. So in this case, we got a pretty easy maze to solve here. Just come down, enter into the home area, and Mazin tells you, congratulations, you've proven this maze can be solved. It will now be available as a playable maze. Now, the last feature I need to show you is saving. Tap the save button. Mazin comes up with a dialog that lets you either save it as is, or you can rename the maze right here. Type in a new name if you want. I'm just going to save. Mazin saves the maze and brings you right back to it. Oh, there is one other thing. You'll notice down here you have a green check. Before, that was a question mark. If I change the maze, it's going to turn back into a question mark. Well, what is that? Well, what it's showing you, if you tap it, it'll let you know that this maze has not been verified. I've made a change to the maze. It's not going to be playable. I need to show Mazin that it can actually be solved. So let's go back to the test area. I'll just simply come down and win this very simple maze. Now when I go back, you can see it's a checkbox. A check mark. You hit the check mark, and it tells you the maze has been verified. So that's about it for building your own mazes. Once you've built them, I need to save my changes before I leave. And once you've built mazes and proven that they can be played, when you go to user mazes now, it's going to show you the mazes. The gray one there has not been proven, but these two have. You can select it, play it just like normal. Now before I go, I'm going to let you know, in the next tutorial, it's going to be pretty short. I'm going to show you how to share your mazes. So once you've built them, if you know another Mazin owner, you can challenge them, share your mazes with them, and let them try to beat your maze. Well, that's about it for building mazes in Mazin. It can be pretty fun, so I hope you enjoy it. I'm Jason, and I am out of here.